What is up, everybody? I'm going to be doing a quick boat walkthrough. Some people have been asking me to do this for a while. I bought this boat last April, so almost a year now. And it was right towards, the beginning of the pandemic. And I really wanted to get a Crestliner, and my buddy had bought a 16-foot Crestliner Storm. And I went on Crestliner's website, and at the beginning of the pandemic, that's when they started shutting things down. And they said it would be about 6 to 7 months if I ordered a boat. So what I did was I shopped around, I looked at all the Crestliner dealers, and I found a boat that had some of the options that I wanted. Not all of them, but most of the options I wanted, with a few upgrades for a cheaper price than I would if I would have ordered it from the factory. So I ended up driving 6 hours away to pick up this boat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the specs just to show you how I compared the reason I got this boat versus the 1600. I got the 1700 Storm. And I'm going to put a little overlay on the screen so you can see what I did. I put both boats side by side and I compared them. Now, the Crestliner 1600 Storm, one of the main deciding factors I wanted to go with the Crestliner Storm was the weight. So the dry weight for the Storm, 17 foot, was 670 pounds. Now if you've shopped around for trackers or any Lunds or any of the other aluminum boats, decent 17-foot aluminum boat usually is going to be 900 to 1200 pounds, somewhere in that range. That's from what I could tell. Now, the reason I wanted a lightweight is because I fish a lot of the small boat clubs around here, and their max horsepower is 40 horsepower. And I wanted to put a 40 horsepower on my boat, so maxing out at 40, I wanted to have a lightweight boat so I could still get decent speed with the smaller motor, and it worked out. So I ended up looking it up. I found it at a dealership over in Jay, Florida, of all places. I drove up there and I picked it up a week later after I called the guy, and he held on to it for me. Now, the base price for the 1700 Storm is $15,283. That's just with the boat and trailer. And then with the options that I wanted and a boat cover, it came out to $16,764. He offered everything to me for $15,900 without the boat cover, plus a few extras that I didn't initially order. Now I'm going to talk about those in a second. Now if you look on the screen, comparing the 1600 and the 1700 Storm, the only noticeable difference besides the length is the front storage hatch. That front storage hatch is a lot bigger than it is on the 1600, and that's also one of the reasons I wanted to go with it, because I wanted the extra storage. But I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. But I got a fix for it. Alright, so when I got the boat, all it came with was the motor, a trolling motor, a Minn Kota Edge 45-pound thrust, and if you have a 17-foot boat, a 45-pound thrust isn't going to do anything with like a 5-mile-an-hour wind or more. Motor, boat, trailer, and let me see, trolling motor. Basically the hull and seats, what you need to function with the boat. That's all it came with, nothing else. So I did a lot of work to it. I put a lot of stuff into it. I personalized my boat a lot. So let's take a look at it. Now, as you can see, I went with a black color. Probably a bad choice in Florida, but I still like the way it looks. This is the 1700 Storm. It's all welded aluminum. It came with these little plastic cleats, and I'm eventually going to replace those with stainless steel pop-up ones. Again, the motor came with the trailer, console. Just a quick walk around, that's all you got to see. Alright, so let's talk about what I did to this boat, and let's walk through it. Now I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to start at the powerhouse, the motor, 40 horsepower. And what I did here, I put an hour counter inside the motor. First of all, let me talk about everything I did to this boat. Everything I did to this boat, I did to this boat. Or I had to help my buddy Dom, but I didn't pay anyone to install anything. I installed everything and did all this work myself. I haven't put in 1 man-hour in this boat, except for servicing the motor, because you need that for warranty purposes. You need receipts and track record. But other than that, everything I did myself. So when I say I added this or I modified that, that's me. I didn't pay anyone to do it for me. So let's take a look. All right. So again, 40 horsepower motor. I installed an hour counter into the motor. I put on an ackless micro jack plate here, and that's I ran the wires and it's hooked up to my console. I'll show you that in a minute. And this really helped get my my RPMs up to 6,000. I was having trouble getting to our 6,000 RPMs. I even tried a stainless steel prop. That actually dropped my RPMs. I think I got the wrong one, but I went back with the aluminum and I got up to 6,000 RPMs, and I'm pushing 32 miles an hour now with my jack plate and the 40 horsepower by myself. If I had two guys on the boat and maybe some equipment, I'm maybe pushing 29, 30 miles an hour. But that's neither here nor there. I installed these ratchet straps here, the bolt buckles, lifesaver. Instead of having to use those, it came with those little clamp ones that I don't know, I like those. I like the ratchet ones better. So that's my motor back here in the back hatch. None of the hatches came with pistons, so I installed pistons on most of the hatches. It came with one battery. It came with a 12-gallon gas tank. I keep a marine toolkit back here in case of a breakdown or anything. Okay. I installed these battery terminals from TH Marine. It allows me to hook up multiple devices without having to really unscrew the terminal from the battery. I installed a master kill switch for all the electronics. I installed this little emergency boat paddle from TH Marine holder there. What I have over here on the other side is my micro power pole. I used this on my other aluminum boat, my little 14-foot, and it was a lifesaver, and it's helped a lot on this boat. And for the micro power pole, I went with a clamp-on transom bracket here, basically because anytime I take my small aluminum boat out, I usually go out to saltwater with it. I could just transfer it to that boat and use it out there. It's a quick hookup to the battery, no time wasted, and I can use it on my other smaller boat. So that's why I went with this instead of installing it onto the transom itself. But don't really use it too much since I got the trolling motor with spot lock, but it does help when you're trying to dock your boat or hold it up to the bank. And I keep my my pole over here. I upgraded to a 10-foot pole instead of an 8-foot pole. And I keep little clips in here, and I have it running by the console. It's not in the way and it doesn't come out. So if I ever need it, I just pull it out, pop it in. It's good to go. Now I have some cooler straps on the back here, and what I do is I put my 65-quart Yeti back here as a seat. Now, when I bought this boat, it came with upgraded seats. As you can tell, these are not your typical cheap little bass seats. These are they're embroidered with Crestliner logo. These are the upgraded, I don't know what you call them. They're just upgraded. They cost extra if you want to get these seats versus the the typical little gray and white bass seats. It came with the driver and the passenger. It came with a back seat, and it came with a front seat, but that's up in storage since I don't use it. I mostly use this cheap butt seat I got from Academy. So that's the seats that it came with. Now for the driver's seat, I installed a little riser, like a 7-inch riser, because I installed a Garmin 10-inch screen on the console. This is the 106SV touchscreen, EchoMap 106SV, and I have a 9-inch on the front version, the 9-inch version on the front. And to get this ram mount bracket on here, I had to install this is called Starboard, if you know about it. I bolted this onto the console, and then I installed my mount onto that Starboard, and that mount is what's holding this 10-inch Garmin up here. Passenger side, I keep a little plastic box under there with bug spray and things like that in there. Got my little light holders, keep a light over there. This right here is the second live well, if you want to call it that. It's actually a bait well. I don't use it for that, but you can put a bait bucket in here and it holds it, and you can fill it with water. It's connected to the pump that fills your live well, but I don't use it. I keep that closed off, and I keep a plug in there so water doesn't back up in the drain. I use this as storage because I like storage. So I usually put some extra baits in here, lures and stuff like that. I also put some styrofoam on the underside, some blue foam from Lowe's, just for keep it from getting too hot here in Florida. This is also a nice upgrade that I installed. I found this online. Now this is like almost like a little center console. I wanted to find one that would fit here, but this is such a tight gap between the two seats, I couldn't find one with the right measurements. So I found this online, and it's got a rubber seal on, it's waterproof. It's actually got power to it. I have it wired to the battery. And you can look, I have a GoPro. I didn't even know that was in there. You know, you can put your keys, your wallet, and stuff in there that you don't want to get wet. It's actually very durable, hard plastic. It's not meant for a step, but I walk on it. And I had to cut a hole in the aluminum. I had to run wires up through the drain and under the console. Great addition to keep storage, keep stuff dry when you're driving around. Now, sitting in the driver's seat, looking down here at the controls, comfortable, not in the way. Kill switch right there, nothing major. I installed this. This is actually a main power switch for my electronics. What I have wired up through here is my 10-inch, my 9-inch, and also my Panoptix live scope. So anytime I want to use any of my electronics, I just turn this and it's on. And I can go ahead and turn all my electronics on. I go like that and it's off. So that way I don't have to worry about if I left something on, or if it's if the Panoptix is trying to send a signal or transmit, you know, it can run your battery down. So main kill switch just for the electronics. You can take this key out too, it's removable. I got this at Academy. Alright, looking at the console here, you have your miles per hour, your trim. I don't really know if that works, and your RPM gauge. I installed my jack plate switch here. I installed LED switch here. My Panoptix switch here. This is dedicated just for Panoptix. Obviously I'm going to turn everything on with this, but I can control just the Panoptix with that one, because Panoptix, even when you take it out of the water, it's still trying to fire signal. I know you can go in your settings and turn off the transmit, but I just turn it off completely. This is my power switch for Panoptix. You got the nav switch. You have the ancillary switch that just turns on the back port. So if you want to use the yellow tech stick, I can just use that one. Got the bilge pump, which pumps water from the lake. No, wait, bilge is your bilge pump, obviously. Aerator pump. That pumps the water from the lake. It's called aerator for some reason. And then I installed my aerator timer here after I installed an actual aerator recirculation pump. So that's what this is for. Again, Panoptix, horn, LEDs, and a little cigarette lighter point. Over here on this side, I have the remote control for the power pole, up and down, if I wanted to do that from here. I installed my fire extinguisher. I installed my Noco Genius Gen 3 bank, 30 amp, so it's 10 amps per bank. Charges my batteries pretty fast. You can see the hole back there. I'm going to talk about what I did through there. I installed a charging point, a charger plug-in port for the batteries for the Noco. So I have the Noco battery charger down there, and I have this connected to it. So if I just want to charge my batteries, I just plug an extension cord in there. Perfect. I don't have to try to struggle trying to plug anything in. Now this is an option. This little storage box is an option you have to pay extra for. And like I said, it was already installed. I keep all my terminal tackle in here. I put a little gas strut on here to keep it open. This is just a little storage bin that I keep over there, and because I have a little space, it's perfect. Fits. I can throw all my baits in there then when I'm done with them and put them away when I get home. And I keep my little bump board tucked in behind this step right there. It doesn't get in the way of opening my hatch or anything. So if I ever need it, just pull it out. Live well right here. Huge live well. I've had 8-pounders in there. I bought the Cal Coast coal tags. I keep them hanging from right here. Your little your fill valve is right here, and that's all it came with. And it came with this overflow pipe that you just shove in there, so water won't overflow. I don't like that. I don't use it. I keep it clipped right there. I don't like it. Now what I did was I've got a plug, put it in there, and if you take a look, let's get in there. Look, I installed an overflow hole up here and connected it with a Y connector to this drain here, back behind the live well. I also installed the aerator recirculation pump right here. It's not the cleanest, but it works. Keeps my fish alive. Because all they had installed was this pump. So if you wanted to circulate water or get fresh water in there, you had to turn on the lake water, circulate lake water in there, and let it overflow through the pipe. I didn't like that whole setup, so I finished and rigged up my own setup here. So live well. Oh yeah, same foam deal underneath the, you know, keep your fish cool in the summer. It's Florida. Front storage. I got the seat pedestals, and it comes with 3 seat pedestal holes. I guess if you want to put like crappie fishermen, you want to sit to the side or something. But this seat pedestal hole, if you don't have anything in there, it drains into the interior of the boat, like the frame of the boat, and it drains out. That's fine. These 2 holes, if you don't have anything in them, guess where they drain if it rains? Right into here. That's a problem. Okay? So I bought some rubber stoppers from Lowe's, and I just put little stoppers in there. Keeps everything dry inside. And when I'm not using the seat up here, I keep one in my cup holder up here, just so I can shove it in there in case it rains. So that was a problem with me. And to install these 2 batteries for the trolling motor, this hatch, the floor sits at a if you can, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it sits at an angle like that, so the batteries would end up sitting at an angle. You don't want your batteries sitting at an angle, you want it to be level. So what I did was I added a little 1x1 aluminum tubing, square tubing, and those batteries just sit right on that edge. So now that little 1x1 keeps those batteries level with the floor, so they're not sitting at an angle, just to help preserve the life of the batteries. Second problem with this storage, it's huge. The door is huge. It goes almost from to the wall almost. Now you can imagine if you're fishing a tournament and you have a co-angler or someone in the back, you're gonna have, you know, 4 or 5 rods on the deck. You know, they're gonna be laying out, and I need to get in there, or let's say I need to get into I got, you know, 5 or 6 rods over here, 3 or 4 over there. Well, look, they're in the way of the hatch. Okay, so if I need to get in the live well, I need to get into that storage, I got to move my rods, and it's just a hassle. So what I did was I found this at Bass Pro Shops, and it's actually just for mounting onto a wall to hold rods. Now what it is, it has a little bungee cord. You know, you pull your bungee cord off. Now I can put rods over here when I'm not running or when I'm not using them. They just sit right there. I keep my rod tips down through here. Let's say I need to run somewhere. I pull off this little bungee cord, strap them down. Pull off this, take this bungee cord. And I strap them down. Problem solved. Now look, I can have 8 rods on that thing, and they're not in the way of my hatch or the live well. So that's a big plus for me for trying to find a solution. My other solution in my head was to cut this into 2 right here. So that way this section would be a lid and this would be a lid, but I just didn't want to cut my hatch lid. So problem solved. Also installed a bounce buster for Minn Kota. It's not locked in. But yeah, that's just to, you know, protect your trolling motor from bouncing around a lot. Let's talk about the trolling motor. Trolling motor is a Minn Kota power drive, 70 pound with iPilot installed. If you know anything about Minn Kotas and power drives, if you have iPilot installed, you cannot have a foot pedal. I've already researched it. I even wrote Minn Kota and they told me no. You can't use a foot pedal if you have iPilot installed on these trolling motors. So that was a little downside, but that's okay. I'm used to using the little remote control, and I keep all my remote controls in this little storage box right here. As you can see, just keep them in there. Nothing major. Put that out of the sun. So that's what I did there. I installed that, and I also put the quick release bracket because I'm gonna plan on putting this on my aluminum boat anytime I go saltwater fishing. Definitely don't want to take this boat out saltwater, but I can still use this trolling motor in saltwater. So I use the quick release bracket here, and I have one on my little boat, and I can just put it on whenever I want to use it. Not too bad, right? So I got the 9-inch Garmin 93SV here. I also installed the Minn Kota GPS, kind of like to keep your compass calibrated and everything. And to install this 9-inch Garmin back up here, I got this this bracket mount from Bass Pro Shops. It's got 2 lock nuts here. You can adjust it. Real easy to install. You just basically has 2 plates here that are sandwiched together, and you install the first plate with the 2, I can't remember how many bolts it is that connect to the frame, and then this plate just screws on top, and that's all it is. It's sturdy. My thing doesn't move at all. I'm trying to shake it right now. It's very sturdy. I love it. So I also installed a trim switch up here to control my motor from up front. I can just use my toes and just raise and lower the motor as I see fit. And I ran all those wires and the electronic wires through this little port I installed right here. I drilled a hole, and then if you take this cup holder out, you can reach down there and grab all your wires and run them all along here and have them come out underneath your console there. So I also have the, like I said, live scope Panoptics. It's a crude little setup I have going in here, but as you can see, I have it clamped onto a PVC pipe that's inside of another PVC pipe. As you can see here, when I have it hanging off the side of the boat, I can just turn it and angle it whichever way I want to look. It's not too bad. A little simple setup I have for Panoptics, because I cannot install Panoptics on this trolling motor. On the shaft, I should say. You cannot put any transducers on the shaft of a power drive, because as you can see, the power drive has to lock into place all the way at the base of the motor, and you can't have anything on there if that's sliding in and out of the motor control. So, c'est la vie. Simple fix. PVC hanging off the side of the boat with this little ram mount here. I just angle it and it hangs off the side into the water, and I can reach down and turn it whichever way I want to. Angle it in whichever direction I want to. Not too bad, not too bad. So I ran all those wires coming out of this hole right here, and I tried to just zip tie and, you know, organize everything underneath the console here. As you can see, I haven't put the plate back on, just in case I ever need to get back there. But it's just a couple screws that holds it on. Funny story about that hole. Let me tell you a funny story. So I was on Lake Harris, and I caught like a, you know, like a little 2.5, 3 foot alligator, a little baby. And I was on the front of the deck, and I caught the gator. And when I wasn't trying to catch him. He ate my frog. I was throwing wheat deep into some under trees and stuff, and he was back there and he grabbed my frog. But I got him to the boat. I lifted him up onto the deck, and the frog came off, and he landed on my deck and started running around. I was like, oh no. And he actually ran down here, right? And before I could get him, he was under there and he was in that hole. That little gator ran all the way up under the deck, and he was hiding in here. I just did not know how to get him out. You know, I was just standing there in the water like, what am I gonna do? And, you know, I just told myself, he'll come out. He'll eventually come out. So, you know, I fire the motor up and I start running. It's a little bumpy, not bad. And as I'm running down the water, this little gator, I'm sitting here, he comes running it out over my foot, brushes up on my hip. This is before I had the seat riser in here. I was sitting real low, and he crawls up this gap right here, right next to me, and he climbs up the side of the boat and jumps out while I'm doing like 28 miles an hour. And he did. It all happened like in about 2 to 3 seconds. It scared the crap out of me. But yeah, a little funny story about that little hole being open and a gator crawling in it. Also has the light ports, front light port, rear light port. Now the rear one's on an ancillary switch, so if I want to use my YOLO stick, I can stick it in there and just turn that on by itself. I installed the nav lights here. I have the red and green nav lights on the front because I didn't like the light that it came with, sticking up like that. I installed the transom saver. As you can see, it didn't come with one. So I installed a bracket down there and installed that so I can use the transom savers just to save my transom, make it last a little longer. Now my rod locker, it's pretty long. The hole for it is, and you can fit, you know, 10 to 15 rods in here. Well, now you can. Let me rephrase it. Now you can fit 10 to 15 rods in here. Before you couldn't. I could barely fit a 6-foot rod in here. Let me tell you why. Down in the back of this rod locker, I don't know why. Get the camera here. Oh don't know if you can see it. There, back there where that light is, there used to be a metal plate. The metal plate, it went to almost to the side of the boat. Let me take this out. So the metal plate was just sitting like this, and it was almost to the wall of the boat. There was a little gap, and I could fit maybe, you know, 1 or 2 rod tips through there, and that was it. I don't know why that metal plate was there, but what I did was went through this hatch. If you take this little storage bin out, take these screws out, take this out, you can actually reach back there, and I stuck a grinder back there, and I cut that metal plate out. I was like, this is ridiculous. So now I can fit 7-11, 8-foot rods in here just fine now. I cut that metal plate out. It was like a wall back there, and I can fit, you know, 10 to 15 rods just fine. It's another thing Crestliner needs to fix. I don't know why they had that metal plate there. You really couldn't fit a rod back there that was longer than like 6, I think it was 6'10". Is the only thing I could fit in there, and that was tight. Gouges, little bruises, my poor baby. But I got some touch-up paint from Crestliner recently. I'm going to be touching all this up, covering it all up, make it look pretty again, except maybe for that. That's, yeah, little love marks. She's been through the grinder. I use her just about every weekend. Like I said, I fish a lot of tournaments. There's 2 tournaments at the beginning of every month. And then I also fish APA and other tournaments too, so it's fun. Installed LEDs everywhere. Oh, I didn't even tell you that. LEDs. So you can see here, I have deck LEDs there. I have LEDs here. I installed an LED strip on the bottom lip right here in my live well, so I can see my fish at night. I installed an LED strip under the console, backside of the console, so it lights this area. I have an LED strip on the back and back here, and they're all connected to this one switch. So I just hit the switch, all my lights come on, no problem. All right, so that's my Crestliner that's my Crestliner 1700 Storm. Again, I've had it almost a year. I'm almost due for the 1-year service on the motor. It almost has 100 hours on it. I think I'm running about 85 hours. So let's go check. So to take the motor off, you just pull this little, pops the motor, and pop the motor cover off. Here's my little hours counter, my hardline counter. I don't know if you can see it, but it says 77.6. I installed it after it already had 15 hours on it, so 77 plus 15. I always add 15 to it. That's where my hours are at. So 77, 15. What is that? 92? 92 hours? Yeah, like you saw earlier, I have the YOLOtech power light. This thing is a lifesaver at nighttime. I just put that bad boy in here, and then when I'm going down those canals or anywhere on the lake I need to see, this thing is so bright, it just lights everything up. It's perfect. The little 12-inch YOLO stick with the power light on it. It's a lifesaver at night. So the boat's overall, the boat is their starting model. It's pretty bare bones. That's why it's so affordable. It doesn't come with the water gasket sealing around the hatches. If it rains, you get water in that hatch and inside your rod locker. It doesn't come with a rub rail, as you can see. Now all that stuff you can add on yourself. That's not a big deal. I got this off of Amazon. It was pretty affordable. I didn't do the best installation, but it was a good start. I'm going to be redoing it here shortly, where it's actually on the aluminum instead of on that black stuff. But yeah, there she is. Alright, so that's my Crestliner 1700 Storm. And all the things that I've added onto it and modified. Just hope you enjoyed. She's been a great boat. I've won several tournaments with it, little tournaments. It's the first boat I've ever bought, and I love it, and she served me well. If you have any questions about what I've done to it or anything about the boat, just shoot me a message or add a little comment, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you like it, go check out Crestliner, the 1700 Storm. It's one of their lower end models, but it's still a great little boat for getting on the water. It's very durable. Can't go wrong with it. Thanks for watching.